We're going to start at the hospital. That's often the first place you end up after a car crashed. Dr. Donna Ochterlony is the medical director of the Brain Injury Clinic at St. Michael's Hospital in Toronto. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
Well, tell us about your clinic. Who are your patients?
Well, I see all kinds of head injuries, but mainly the mild and moderate. We have over 2,400 visits a year. I have 3 other doctors who work with me, and a clinic coordinator, Alicia Mahalik, and a neuropsychologist, and some assistants.
So you said mild and average? Is that what you said?
Mild and moderate.
Moderate, okay.
Yeah.
And how many of these patients would actually have been involved in car accidents?
The majority.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay, and can you describe more of the injuries that they have?
Well, they'll be in a car accident, and they may not even have lost consciousness, but they may be dazed and confused at the scene. They might have a fracture in addition, and then they come to the hospital. Either we're seeing them through a referral from Emerge, or they've been in the trauma service, and they haven't been severe enough to go to one of the inpatient rehab units.
Okay.
So they'll come to us for follow-up.
So just to clarify, because there are 3 basic categories, and we'll get into this a little bit more in a few minutes, but there's, a smaller percentage of people who end up in the catastrophic field where they're trying to make claims, non-catastrophic, and then minor injuries. Where do your patients typically fall?
I see the non-catastrophic and some of the catastrophic.
Okay.
I don't see the minors.
Okay, so and in the non-catastrophic category, that was what I was describing, that for the basic coverage, $100,000 used to be available. You pay the same amount, you're now getting $50,000. Tell me what you're observing, like maybe actually before the changes to insurance coverage, what treatments would your patients be getting?
Well, they would receive occupational therapy, and that's a therapist who would work on cognitive abilities, and speech pathologists would also work on cognitive problems, and they would see physiotherapists who would work on the physical problems. They might see a social worker or a psychologist as well.
Okay, and how has that changed?
Well, as soon as the new legislation came in, we went through a very bad period where the insurers were just denying all treatment plans, even to some of the catastrophic. And the plan changed in the way you said. They not only cut benefits, but they changed the approval process. It used to be that the adjuster could not accept or deny. They had to send it out for another opinion, or at least they had recourse to another opinion. Now, the adjuster alone can deny the treatment plan. So here we have a fully trained team with hundreds of years of education, slight exaggeration, and many, many years of experience. We can say this is what they need. It then goes to the adjuster, who does not have a great deal of medical training, and they can deny. And so what we're seeing is they are denying.
So, like, how does this play out for your patients?
Well, the patients go without treatment. At my last clinic, I had one young woman who'd been in a significant accident with facial fractures, rib fractures, and a head injury, and she has had no treatment for a year.
And
I next saw a young couple, and that woman had been in an accident in September, and treatment had been recommended, and all of it had been denied, and she has ended up having, serious psychiatric issues.
Because of coping, obviously, with a dramatic change in her lifestyle, eh?
Yes.
So let me break this down a little bit, because one of the complaints that the insurance industry made had to do with assessments, actually, saying it was chewing up too much money, and they had a staggering estimate, something like 60 cents on every dollar was being spent on assessments. So I'm taking that maybe some of that adjuster business was trying to create a balance there. What's your perspective?
Well, the groups have looked at this, and they found that the insurance company was spending as much of that money as the professionals on assessments.
In what way?
Well, okay, we would recommend this person needs occupational therapy. Then under the old legislation, an assessment went ahead. Then it would go to the insurance company saying they needed 15 treatments. So the insurance company would say, I don't think so. And they would send them off for an assessment or two. And so that was paid for under the insurance money. So a lot of what they're talking about, the cost of assessments, they initiated, a good part of that.
Okay, so yeah, that you're describing there kind of that tugging and to and fro, which is, I guess,
Yes.
the classic relationship,
Yes.
with people in their insurance industry. Is there anything else you can do for your patients? Could they get some of these services elsewhere? I don't know, through home care?
Home care is very strapped, particularly in Toronto. Now, I have a daughter who's a law professor in Ottawa, and so she's had some experience with the Ottawa healthcare system and actually seems better, and I think it's because of the size. Toronto is so big. The home care system has recently advised that they can only give 2 OT treatments and 2 PT treatments to each client. So that is woefully inadequate. Secondly, often the therapist doesn't get in for a long period of time. I had one case that had a badly fractured knee and was sent home, and the home care physio didn't make it in for 6 weeks. If that patient had had no therapy, if that patient had not had their own money, their knee would have been permanently fused.
How long have you been in this field?
Oh, more. I graduated in 67. I've been in this field since about 71, 72.
I want to ask you just about the fraud before I let you go. I mean, in your own experience, have you seen cases of patients, who are dragging it out or wanting to drag it out unnecessarily over the years?
Very few. I can think of one case that I saw through WSIB. I was one of the assessors of their Ontario Neurology Clinic. In my own clinic, very, very few.
Now, your experience would be people want to get out if they can.
Yes.
Yeah.
People want their lives back.
Dr. Ochterlony, thanks for your time.